What's up, guys? Mike Chamello, Dr. Wade. We're back. We're ready to do our assessment on shoulder mobility.
Yep.
We've done ankle.
We've done the hips.
We've done
Mid-back.
We've done rack.
Yep.
Now we're on shoulder. Okay, so we're gonna fire up with something like the way we like to do things. Before we get that, I hope you guys can see Wade's shoes because they're hilarious today. They're orange. He's wearing some lifters. That just gives you a great example of Wade's actual mobility, and that he actually needs to wear lifters for this segment, which is hilarious. So I think he just looks funny with them. So it's gonna be great. I love him to give Wade shit. If you know our relationship, you know we like to make fun. We like to mess with Wade. Anyway, we're gonna talk about our assessment first. So the test that we do, same order, right? Then Wade is going to show us how brilliant he is by giving us an anatomy lesson of the shoulder.
Yep.
And how to use the cross ball in those areas. Then we're going to do our mobility stuff with bands, etc. And then we're going to do stability work. So it's the same order we've done for all the other stuff. Starting right now with our assessment, Wade's going to take it away with something we call floor angels. He's going to use a PVC pipe to do this.
Yep. Okay. So these are assessment tests to see what kind of mobility you have. In this situation, we're using gravity as our friend. So you're going to start like this and then keep your back nice and flat. By having your back flat and having your knees up, it isolates the shoulders more. So we're going to start with a normal snatch grip. Come down, see if you can touch the ground comfortably. If you can, then you're going to come back up and just slowly start narrowing the grip, right? So beginner level would be at your normal snatch, touching the mat comfortably.
So we mean snatch, normal snatch grip, guys. Yeah. Normal snatch grip.
Or overhead squat, whatever.
Overhead squat position.
I'm going to keep narrowing it, right? As long as I'm touching the mat.
And for this particular exercise, right, you're going to start in that wide grip, and then you're going to narrow it as you go based on your mobility. Obviously, if you can get directly over your head, hands close together, you have great mobility. If it starts to get really, really, really tough, that's kind of where your mobility lies in the shoulders.
Yeah. So, to break this down, I would say beginning level is normal snatch, lift width for Olympic lifting, like this. And then an intermediate would be as if you can get your hands about shoulder width apart and then come down and have it touch the mat while keeping your back flat against the mat.
Yeah. And advanced would be kind of put my hands together.
Or even like,
or even over.
All the way together, and you can see like.
You can see right there he starts to like.
I can kind of do it, but I gotta bend my elbow a little bit, or I can use my hand and kind of pull it down, but it's not a natural. I'm not letting gravity just kind of naturally fall and hit the ground, and that's what you want. Whereas if I'm right here, I can just naturally fall and hit the table.
So that's your first initial assessment, guys. That's to kind of see where you're at. It's actually the easiest of the assessments that we have. The next thing we're going to do, we actually move to a wall, and this one's called a wall angel, and we'll use a PVC pipe for this one as well.
So once again, you want to be flat against the wall. This would be the ideal position. Legs flat, back flat. So you're only using your shoulders at this point. So once again, beginner level is if you can go normal snatch width and then touch the wall. You can see that I'm activating my lower trap, bring my shoulders back and down and pressing against the wall. Once again, you can kind of slowly bring your arms in, right? So beginner level here. More intermediate level would be, straight shoulder width apart, bringing it up and having it touch the wall.
Yeah, it's the same concept as the ground guys, but because he's getting his shoulders and back against the wall, he's tucking himself into a different position. So this is a little bit more difficult to kind of see where your assessment lies.
Plus with the ground, you're using gravity as your friend, and against the wall, you're going against gravity. So automatically it's harder because you got to engage more muscles to bring it up.
Yeah. And the last one, you're going to be in the exact same position, okay? And this is called a wall slide. This is something that I used to use to assess kids, my athletes when I was coaching, when I was strength coach. I would use this to assess essentially the athlete's shoulder mobility, especially as young kids. And what we're going to do is you're going to get your back of your hand against the wall.
So what I'm going to show you guys, this is more of an advanced move than the last one I did, and I have a hard time doing this one. So to show you properly, if I just move my butt away from the wall a little bit, so now I'm more angled, it's a lot easier. So basically it's like this, right, Mike?
So back of the elbows against the wall, back of the hands against the wall, and the idea is to keep everything against the wall and go as high as you can, as essentially a full extension of the arms while maintaining everything touching. Once you hit full extension, you'll come all the way down. Okay? If at any point it comes off the wall, that is when you're having issues. That's when you know your mobility stops at a certain point. Now his next step, right, is to get everything against the wall, including his butt, and do the exact same assessment.
So now if you watch this, you'll see that I can't quite do it. I'm in this
he's
position.
He's already getting his knuckles against the wall, except for the back of his hand against the wall, just from doing that position alone.
And then if I bring it up,
his left arm starts to go.
I get to about right here, and I have to either go out or bend my elbows. I have a hard time straightening it out all the way.
And that's the shoulder mobility that we're looking for. It's an advanced movement. We're going to come back with wall slides actually, because I like to use those actually as a stability exercise as well. So once you assess them, then you can actually directly work the wall slide as an exercise, and it does improve mobility for people with bad shoulder issues.
100%.
All right, going into our anatomy lesson, right? So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the shoulder, how the shoulder works, how it's created, or how it's not how it's created, how it's formed, and then how to use a lacrosse ball in those areas. And Dr. Wade's going to use me as his example.
Okay, so most people, when they think of shoulder mobility, they think of just the shoulder joint right here, which is the glenohumeral joint. But big factors in the shoulder mobility is the clavicle, which is this bone right here. The bone connects to the sternum right here, which is called the SC joint or sternoclavicular, but it also attaches over here with the acromion, so it's the acromion clavicular or the AC joint, right? So if you can get these joints all to loosen up, you'll get much more range of motion and mobility in the shoulder. Along with the front, on the back side, we have the scapula and the ribs, and when the arm goes up, the scapula has to rotate out. So you have to worry about this joint right here, which is basically like the scapular thoracic joint. Okay, so, and in the front, we'll start here. Whenever you bring the arm up, the clavicle has to roll up and back down like this. I'm like over-exaggerating, but it's like this. So if this is jammed up, you can't get the shoulder all the way back. So take the lacrosse ball, go against a wall or a pole, or whatever you want to do, and you want to start right there where the clavicle and the sternum meet, and you want to mash all along here to get all of the ribs, because they attach along the sternum and they also attach to the back of the spine on the vertebrae. So you want to mash along there, and then you want to mash along the clavicle ridge and take it all the way to the shoulder. And then once you get to the shoulder over here, you have a bony projection called the coracoid process, which connects the pec minor and then the biceps. So you want to get in there, and then you want to roll up in there to get all of these areas loosened up. And then once you get those areas loosened up, you go to the back, and then you loosen up here in the ribs, and then all along the scapular edge. And then once you get all along the scapular edge, you also want to go right along the spine on the vertebrae, like I said, where the ribs are connecting. By loosening up this entire complex, you're going to get more range of motion in the shoulder. In fact, when people I see have very limited shoulder range of motion, the first thing I do is free up the clavicle. It's huge in getting that full range of motion.
It's also, It's also really good to note, guys, that most people, when they say lack of shoulder mobility, it's not your shoulder. People say they have injuries or this hurts, that hurt. 90% of the time, it's clavicle, it is bicep tendon. It's not necessarily your shoulder. There's so many other factors that add to shoulder pain, and it's not actual shoulder pain.
Yeah, I mean, anytime your muscles or tendons are tight, your muscles can refer pain to certain areas. So that's why some people will say, I got a deep pain inside my shoulder, it has to be my shoulder. Well, it could be a muscle that's referring pain deep into the shoulder, and once you loosen up the muscle, all of a sudden the shoulder feels freer again.
So it's not necessarily shoulder, but so shoulder mobility for us, yes, it's shoulder mobility, but it's actually mobility for
the whole complex.
The whole complex. Yeah.
So I'm going to briefly show you with this lacrosse ball. So I'm going to go against a pole or a wall, whatever you want to do. Like I said, get right next to the sternum. You're going to roll up, really get that area. You're going to roll across the clavicle, like I was showing you guys. And then you get to this part, and you're going to roll up into here. I don't know if you guys can even see that really. It's pretty simple.
Guys, he's in his bicep tendon, so he's going to stay right there just to show you guys what he means. He's putting that ball right in the bicep tendon head right here. right at the pec area. So here's the pec, here's my bicep in, he's getting it right in there. So that's what he's showing you. Go ahead and show again, Wade.
Yeah.
That's exactly what he's showing you to do. So if you see me, that's him. Here's my example. I'm pointing at that exact same spot that he's got it in. That's the idea of what we're trying to get at.
The whole idea is you want to get everything in this area and not just worry about this.
The shoulder. And you see he's working pec too.
Yeah.
Pec tightness is a major reason why shoulder pain happens as well.
100%.
Then he's going to spin around,
Yeah,
right?
then you spin around and then you just put the ball's
against
the wall or
here. So he's going to get right there. Okay, so
and I can either like rock it like this, or I can move my arm, whatever you want to do to really loosen up the joints back there, the ribs.
And we're showing you this on a post, guys, just because it's better for the camera. But I would recommend a wall because it's more surface area for this.
100%.
Okay, and you just kind of get it right into that head back deltoid area back here, right? Where it says
the whole. You want to go along the whole ridge.
The whole ridge back in here, and obviously if you're going to go along the spine like he showed earlier. Just down that, a wall is really going to help with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is our lacrosse ball, right? And our shoulder mobility stuff. The next thing we're going to move on to is our banded mobility stuff. One is double jointed. The other one is a torso twist, which is more of a muscle type of activity. Before we get into something called banded mulligans, from the mulligan term, as in like a golf mulligan.
Yeah.
Or that's the term.
So we'll talk
get
about
into
it when we get there. Okay.
So here we go. So banded mobility, guys.
So you can use a PVC pipe for this, but I like to use a band just because it's more forgiving, and you have more leeway for, I guess, having more like range of motion or less restrictions, I guess you can say. So you're gonna grab a band like this, and you're gonna bring it through like a pass through, but you want to get a full grip. Now you can go all the way down if you like to, but I'd rather people didn't do that unless you were very comfortable that you could pass through and control the whole way. What you don't want to do is get to here and then have it snap you down, right? And then if it hurts too bad to bring it back up, then come up like this and then start over again. But ideally, I would like for people to be at about this range right here.
Yeah, guys, piggybacking on that, he's pulling the band apart. And a lot of people, when I see when they do band work, they don't understand necessarily pulling the band apart. You should be able to pull the band apart the entire time. If you're going to go full range of motion like he was saying, that's really tough. You should be able to pull the band apart down to the bottom and keep pulling it apart on the way up. If it goes, it all of a sudden releases, or you release your tension of the pull apart, that's what we don't want.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay?
So then once that feels comfortable, just very simply, you just narrow the grip and you're just going to do the same thing, right? But you'll see, like, if I go really, really narrow, you'll see it in my shoulder, where I come back, and I almost have to bring my left one back first, and then my right one, and then I get to here, and then it's just like, you don't want that. That's very dangerous for the shoulder. So just be smart, and just stay within this comfortable range. And once you stay within this comfortable range, pretty soon this comfortable range will become this comfortable range. And then that comfortable range will become this comfortable range. But it'll be naturally over time as you kind of ease into it. You don't want to force anything.
So the next thing, guys, is we're going to move on to the floor. Here, it's called a torso twist.
Yeah. So the last one was more joint. This one's more muscle. So I'm going to lay on my side like this. Okay, like this.
There we go.
Okay. So first thing I'm going to do is lay on my side like this. I want this hand on this leg to hold it in place.
So he's on the side, guys. He's on the bottom of his leg. He's got his back shoulder down, his left shoulder, and he's got his left arm on his knee.
Yeah. And so I'm going to take my right arm in this situation, put in the swell in my back, and I'm going to let my elbow drop down until it touches the ground. What that one does is it stretches out that coracoid pros we're talking about, that where the bicep attaches and also the pec minor. It really loosens up this area right in here.
So to reiterate, guys, he takes his other arm, puts it under his butt, okay, and he's going to stretch, pulling down on his, like, I guess, opening up his armpit away or opening up his shoulder.
Letting gravity just kind of
letting gravity drop it down, and he's going to just open up and hold through here.
Yep.
Okay, and that's going to be, it's essentially a torso twist. It's a slight twist, guys, not a massive twist, but it's an upper thoracic, I guess, twist. Right?
Yeah. It is.
So that's kind of what you're looking at doing, and you do that on both sides.
Yeah, and then once you get this comfortable, my elbows touching, I bring my arm out, and then hopefully my hand can touch. If not, I'm going to have my hand touch in the back of my hand, and I'm going to do this, And if you can't get to that position right at first, you just gotta have to like let gravity slowly let your arm drop down until it touches, or you can just lightly kind of do this range of motion until you get it.
So essentially, he's going to start underneath his butt or back, and he's going to slightly. The idea is to be able to move it out away from the body.
Yeah.
And the more you can do it out away from the body and get full range of motion, the more mobile you're becoming in that shoulder area.
Yeah. So this would be like you should be able to touch your hand all the way through this range of motion, and then the next one would be like a bigger circle. So having your arm all the way out now, which is going to be more of the pec major and the bicep all the way down to your hand. And this one, same thing. You're going to start here. If you can't get your hand to touch here, same thing. You let gravity slowly let it drop down till your hand touches, and then you move your arm up and you do the same thing. But the whole idea is you should be able to touch this entire arc with your hand. So you should be able to do this entire thing and have your hand and essentially your elbow touch the entire time.
So while twisted, the goal, guys, is to keep a straight arm and go full range of motion, keeping it touching the entire time. And if you can do that, you're getting much better.
And you have good flexibility.
Most likely, one side's going to be easy, one side's going to be really difficult.
100%.
Okay, so and then you just work that side just extra until that gets better as well. Okay, moving on to our banded mulligans.
Yeah, so the reason why I call this mulligan is because it's actually a physical therapy thing that physical therapists will do. In a PT office, they'll actually like hold the shoulder down while doing like range of motion, which basically, what we explained before, is affecting the clavicle and the first rib. But with this, you're allowed to do it basically self-mobilization rather than having someone do it with you. So you're going to take the band, put it on your foot, put it over your shoulder like this, and the first thing is try to get your hand to go up and touch as high as it can possibly go. And then once you can do that, then you kind of lean your elbow, your elbow also, but your armpit into this pull. But you can move it in lots of different movements or angles to try to get this whole thing loosened up in the shoulder. And like I said, it's just pulling down while my arm's up. So it helps to free up the shoulder. Okay.
That's really all I have about that one, guys. Not much to say, but he was pretty self-explanatory about that one.
Okay.
Moving on to our stability, guys. This is where we bring back the wall slides, like we talked about as the assessment, but use it as a stability segment.
Do we want to do a squat thing first?
Yes.
Overhead? Okay.
Yes.
So, last time we talked about, before the front rack, we talked about being next to a pole.
So during our thoracic movement.
Yeah, and then having your arms forward like this. And the reason why I'm wearing my lifters today is because I wanted to show you guys using lifters. It's a little bit easier to get in these positions with lifters. Okay, so the next, I guess, more advanced position would be with PVC pipe over your head in the overhead squat position, being as close as you can to the bar, and then squatting down, right? Getting to a full squat.
Which is very difficult.
Yeah.
Very difficult.
And lifting shoes is just kind of like the beginner level, and then once you can do lifting shoes, then you do just normal shoes. So it's kind of a progression. Also a progression is you can go wider, and then if this feels really easy, then you can narrow your grip some, right? And then do the same thing.
And one of the things I like to use, guys, when it comes to this exact particular exercise, I like to get my athletes to get their hands as close as they can, and what helps them with extra mobility of the shoulders is to put the thumb behind the bar. If they put the thumb behind the bar, behind the PVC pipe, it'll actually open up the shoulders a little more and squeeze the scaps together better and allow for a little bit better range of motion. So that's going to give you guys a really good trick to get the shoulder mobility active, a little bit more active for that particular exercise. Okay, so that's a good start to your stability, and you can start doing that with a little bit more weight as you get better at it. Yeah. And then you want to go to the wall slide and really work the wall slide.
Okay, you want to show how you work the wall slides? Okay.
I will show the wall slide. Okay. So, guys, I like to start exact same way that Wade did the assessment. Get real close. Oh man, I'm tight today. So I'll get real close, everything's tight. Now I'm going to pull all the way up, sliding everything there, work it up through that. And I'm going to do multiple reps. I'm going to do like 10 reps. Now, that's going to become easy. That's when you add 2.5 pound plates, 5 pound plates to your hands, and do the exact same thing. And treat it like an exercise. Treat it like literally like you're doing 3 sets of 10. It's working sets of 10 with weight or non-weight. Okay? That's going to really increase that shoulder stability and strength to do multiple things. Okay. The last thing is our Tabata wall angels.
Yeah.
You have something.
You want to show that? You want me to show it?
Go ahead and show that.
Okay, so Tabata wall angel is what we showed before. So this is going to create a lot of stability in the shoulder. So feet flat, back flat, get into your snatch position, overhead squat position. You're going to hold this for 20 seconds, and then you're going to relax for 10 for a total of 5 minutes. Now, the reason why I like this one is because if you're holding this for 20 seconds, especially repeated 5 or 6 or 10 times, you're going to have better stability of the shoulder, meaning like if you're just like this, you can't hold it that long. If you pinch your shoulders back and down, you have a lot more stability and you can hold in this position for a much longer period of time. So naturally, your body will naturally learn how to activate those muscles more efficiently to hold it longer.
So the idea, guys, is a Tabata traditionally is 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off. Wade is saying the best way to do this is to go for 5 to 10 sets. So that could take you somewhere between 4 to 6 minutes or so, depending. 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off based on tolerance. The most amount of rounds that you should do is 10. Basics about is 8. You can do up to just 5 rounds of this, and that's fine. And then you want to build yourself up to your shoulder stability and endurance in the shoulders.
100%. And then once this feels super comfortable, once again, narrow your grip. So you're activating a little bit different part of the back of the shoulder depending on how narrow this PVC pipe is. Once again, hold it for 20, come down, and you can do the same workout. That feels light. Bring your hands in, lock them out, activate the shoulders, bring them back, squeeze them against your shoulder blades, and then squeeze it against that wall. And just helps to activate those shoulders.
Guys, that concludes our shoulder mobility segment of our mobility segments that Wade and I have been doing. We got a lot more coming at you guys in the future, so keep tuning in weekly whenever these are out, and we'll see you next time.